Hey Patreon people, hope everyone's doing well. This is our Frankenstein companion piece to the creature. It's in Super Sculpey. And the creature, I think the creature's about 4 1/4. So the Frankenstein is right over 5 inches. Right over 5 inches. Right at almost 5 inches. So we baked this a couple of times. And now, and then we've dremeled it, and just a touch of sanding. I don't really want to sand the piece. It's just after the dremeling, there will be some fluff and dander, little fluff and muck here and there, and just the sanding gets that off. But added just a touch of Vaseline with the paintbrush in the spots that I'm adding more clay. That's how you add fresh polymer clay to something baked. And I'm trying to wrap this up. We're really working on other stuff, but we're just trying to get some of these classic monsters out. Hold on one second. We've got a showdown at the dog bowl. Okay. All right. I have 4 dogs, and one of them grew up in the woods with his brothers, and they were starving. When I got him, he was full grown, but he was emaciated. And so he's real growly around the food. None of the other ones care, but he's just always growling. So just adding sutures and stitches. Put on the belt buckle for some detail, and I'm considering a just something else, maybe like a metal rod here. Like his arm has some support or something. Just a touch of detail. It's a, why not? And this white stuff is Odie Fix-It Stick plumber's putty. So we put that on there just to, I like it because it cures quick. You know what I mean? You can make an armature, point, whatever you're doing with it, and keep moving. Yeah, it looks kind of crazy over here from the side because we hadn't really worked on it yet. But so we'll do something like this and put the holes in and then heat gun it. And so that kind of locks in these little holes. That way when you go and put the stitches in, this part of it isn't going to move. You know what I mean? And in a second, well, let's go ahead and do that. So if I was going to put this other Ed Gein slab of flesh, whatever Frankenstein's made of, parts. So if I was going to put this other part on, and we can have this one part that's kind of look like it's kind of opened up or something. And I love a heat gun. Where's my heat gun at? Let's break this thing out so people can see. I've actually got 2 of these yellow Wagners, and we like to use it on low. I mean, it's better to heat gun it low 10 times than to heat gun it once on high and screw up what you're doing, because you'll start to get these little now this is from the oven. I had it too close to the oven, but you'll start to get these little 3D points. That's the Sculpey deforming. That's not good. So thank God this is Frankenstein. You know, who cares? I want little deformations and moles and bumps and warts. But if this had been something that I was trying to, you know, that didn't allow for that kind of texture, I'd have been shit out of luck. And I'm familiar with the toaster I'm using. The toaster, I use a toaster oven outside. It's pretty crazy, but it works. Well, it works most of the time. But the trick is to get used to whatever you're using. Whatever, if it's an oven, we've all used the home oven. If you're starting to bake a whole bunch, I know I'm rambling and not working, but the more you bake polymer clays, the more careful you should be. It's not like you build up an immunity to it. Open the windows, use the fans, do it outside if you can. That's what we do. Shit, we've been baking stuff for 20 years, so I'm not trying to bake anything in my house. I'm going to do it all outside because we're doing it all the time. What was I working on? Oh yeah, this thing. So putting on this slab, and then you know, you could do the holes directly across from the other holes or not. It doesn't really matter. Because it's Frankenstein and he's moving around and all these holes won't come into place. Some of them will be covered by the stitches or other meaty stuff that I add later, fleshicles, whatever it is, little pieces of and so I just don't want it to be too clean where the parts meet. So I'm adding I'm trying to make some parts higher than others. You know what I mean? One of the problems I have is bulking up everything to the max. And this is kind of a skinny Frankenstein. He's not just going to be freaking gorilla juiced to the max. I'm trying to keep him thin but still showing the anatomy. So it is the 15th. It's Tuesday. Yeah, wow, this really looks crazy from over here. I've got to work on this. Well, one thing I always do is have my ears too close. And this ear is way too close to this eye. I mean, it's way back here. But it's the Tuesday. I was just watching the debate. And trying to wrap this Frankenstein up. Brandon and I are working on our book. That's very exciting. We're doing it for 3D Total. They did the beginner's guide to sculpting characters in clay. We wrote the intro for that, and then it's got demos by Romain van de Bogart. I'm sure that is not how you say it. And Raphael Grassetti. Is that who it is? God, no, it's somebody. There's a couple of great demos in that book. And so anyhow, we're doing a book with that same company, was my point. And so we're very excited about that. And we're going to do a collaboration with Amilcar Aldona Fong. He's a great artist. And am I sculpting on the camera? Jesus. We've got a Cthulhu coming out. And one fun thing is the mini Gillman. So through the magic of Hydrospan, you can YouTube this. Hydrospan 100, Hydrospan 400, Hydro Shrink. It's all going to come up. You can either it's a medium that shrinks down or enlarges your pieces. So it's kind of wobbly and hard to work with, but what we ended up with is a Gillman that's about, I've seen a picture of it, it's about this high. So it's a lot smaller. It's this piece. He cast it in this material, Hydrospan, and then the water evaporates out of it over a couple of weeks. Easy for me to say. And it reduces it. And so it's a super tight, crisp version of this creature. I've seen a picture of it. And so that's coming soon. So that'll be a fun little thing for the collectors. And we're doing a Wolverine that is progressing, and we're going to do another video on it probably tomorrow. Probably try to space the videos out a little bit. And what are we doing? A Gamera. That's fun. You know, and it's like Godzilla. There's so many versions of Gamera that it's kind of like just which one. You know, you start Googling the images and you're just there all day. So we're just kind of doing our interpretation. So I'm just adding the smallest amount. You know, if you add too much Vaseline, the clay won't stick. It'll just kind of wobble around. And so just the slightest amount of any kind of white petroleum. That's the trick. It can be lip balm. It can be all kinds of stuff. Neosporin, anything that has white petroleum in it. And so, as you can see, I'm kind of wiping it off here. I don't really care too much about sculpting hair. I'm just trying to get a texture or a feel. I mean, there's no, you know, if you try to go in and try to do every little line, I mean, that's not, doesn't always look great. Not that this hair is going to look great. We're not like, but, we try to do like the form of the hair, kind of the general shape. Keep it loose. It's, I think on one of our very first piece, the Dowkiel, we tried to just sculpt in every little line, you know. Some people can probably do it. I didn't love the way it looked. But I'm always kind of picky. And again, much like the anatomy, the head, you know, much like the shoulders, the head can't keep getting bigger and bigger. Because the bigger the head gets, the smaller the body looks. We sculpted the head to the Darkness action figure, and Clay Moore was like, "Oh, he's a 200-pound guy, and you've got a head of a 220-pound guy." And it's the first time I really started thinking, yeah, I guess the head does kind of discern or kind of inform the the weight of the body. And so, belt loops or no belt loops, I don't know. You know, belt loops are, I don't know. We've got some dogs roughhousing in the other room. But I do like the belt buckle. It's very butch, and it's very masculine. And it's less of just like a naked man body. And then he's got some little, you know, depending, I think, on what movie you watch, he's got some bolts, or they're not really bolts, they're like little L shapes. Kind of like little L hinges that have been spun around. I'm not an expert on the movies. I did read the book a long time ago. We had a copy. We had Dracula and Frankenstein in the same big-ass book. And it actually had a cover by Frazetta. It was cool, man. It was. I wish I still knew where that was, because it was awesome. But anyhow, okay, I've rambled enough. This is our new Frankenstein. It's coming out. The creature is on the site now. And thank y'all so much for supporting our Patreon. It's a huge help to us. And we enjoy doing it. It's kind of like the forum, you know. I hope people are getting something from it. People say they're watching the stuff, like the Lobo demo. So I know somewhere's out there, there's some hardcore people that are like, yeah, this is you know, worth watching, and it's probably a lot of wings and horns and axes. But if that's your thing, God bless you. That's our thing too, and we're gonna stay at it. So. Thanks again. Thanks for hanging out in the forum and posting your work in there if you're in there. And I'll do another video on the probably the Wolverine tomorrow. And we'll talk to y'all soon. Bye-bye.